Yeah, our like first priority is always good hospitality. Second priority is like let people into the bigger story if they want. Yeah, everyone engages with things on their own level.
Hey everybody, you are with Dani Valent for Dirty Linen, my food podcast. We are up to about 1,000 episodes. I've got to actually count of food conversations. Every time I press record, I feel so grateful to be doing this podcast. So grateful to the guests who give me their time and open up about whatever is happening for them in their lives. I'm also so grateful to everybody who's listening. Thank you. There's so much you could be doing apart from listening to Dirty Linen. So thank you so much for sharing some time with me. If you love what you're listening to, tell your friends. Maybe you know someone who should be on the show, let me know. And give us a little rating in the podcast app that you are using, because it really does get the show out to more people. One of the things I always love doing on Dirty Linen is having a guest return to the show. It is so nice to have that continuity, to catch up with people, to see what has changed, what has persisted, and to see, to see where things have landed. People who've been listening to this show for a while will be familiar with our Illuminating Lumen series, where we followed the journey of Lumen People, a cafe and wine bar that launched in North Melbourne in 2023 and then closed its first location and has reopened in a new location. Last time we caught up with owner Emma Sheahan, it was September 2025. So it is now April 2026. It's been a while. I wanted to wait until I got into the new Lumen before we had a chat. And I don't know how the weeks just slipped by. Life happened, but Lumen is alive and well, and I think thriving. Emma, welcome back to Dirty Linen.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
I always love welcoming you to the show, and I'm especially thrilled to chat about the new Lumen People on Johnson Street in Fitzroy in Melbourne. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we've just hit 6 months. So that's a pretty huge thing. We realised, Marich and I realised that we'd been telling people that we were open for 3 months for about 3 months. So yeah, time definitely flies. We opened on the 27th of September. I think I spoke to you maybe a week before we opened, or like 5 days before we opened. And we were talking, and there was like a construction site behind me, and it was all very like chaotic and ever moving. But yeah, we've had a really, really fun 6 months. It has been crazy. We're open every day now, plus 4 nights. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have an excellent world-class chef team. We have an excellent front of house team. It's all just kind of going to plan. Yeah, it's all going to plan.
Honestly, the times that someone in hospitality says everything is going to plan, I reckon I could count them. So I'm so thrilled to hear that. Tell us about the differences between the old Lumen and the new Lumen.
Well, I guess like first and foremost, there's like a very obvious difference in size. Our first venue was 16 to 18 seats. It was like 22 seats if we like managed to do a function when Manze was closed and we could steal some of their furniture. But otherwise it was like teeny tiny capacity. This is our new North Melbourne spot has 55 seats. So she's a little bit bigger. She can accommodate more people. Kitchen is bigger, can accommodate more people. And yeah, just a different neighborhood. We're like right in the middle of like bustling Fitzroy, just a stone throw from Smith Street. Yeah, like it's a dream come true, really. We're having so much fun. Yeah.
So when we spoke about closing the North Melbourne location, as much as you loved the community there and there were so many positives. That lack of foot traffic and sort of density of customers and potential customers did seem to be hitting you hard. Like what? Yeah, tell us about the different community that you've landed in there.
Yeah, I guess like first and foremost, we didn't really lose our North Melbourne community. I thought we might, but we still see them. I don't know, we still see them a lot. Um, and the friendship that we forged with a lot of our guests in North Melbourne was like deeper than service. They were like real friendships. So a lot of them have like followed us over into this new space. So we already had a bit of a following before we even opened the doors here. But I guess like it's hard to say what the demographic is here or like what's different, but there's just like so many more people. Yeah. There's so many more people just walking past, just in the neighborhood, just looking for somewhere to be and hang out. More tourists. Yeah, there's just more people. Density of people is so much higher here, it seems. Yeah.
And the scale of the business being that much bigger, how does that change the dynamics of it for you and Marici, your partner and co-owner?
Yeah. I guess like the first thing that we knew we needed to strengthen was just like uh, we needed more leadership within the business. That was like a really big thing for us. So when we opened the doors, we brought on Bethany as our head chef and Arthur as our sous chef. They actually both worked with us in North Melbourne. They carried out the last week of service for us in North Melbourne and designed the last menu that we ever did in North Melbourne, and then have done every menu since for us in Fitzroy. So that was like the first thing, knowing it was going to be a little bit bigger. It's definitely still not a big venue, like, but just big for us, I guess. So yeah, the first thing we knew we needed to do was have some strength in the kitchen that perhaps Marisha and I had outgrown leading every section of the venue, and we would be stronger by having more help. Yeah.
It's also, you're obviously investing in the business. You're committing to spending more money on wages. What were some of the feelings or strategies around making that work?
I guess like financially, how we made it work was like we kind of buffered every other hour that existed for like pretty much the first 4 to 6 months. Like Reach and I were on every front of house shift, every bar shift. Yeah, we've been pulling some pretty crazy hours. Probably not news for anyone within the industry. I think everyone's pulling some pretty crazy hours, but it's kind of like intuitively what you want to do when you're like trying to create something from scratch. You want to be there, like getting your hands in it and molding it yourself. But yeah, that was like a big financial thing for us. We were like, well, we're going to invest in the kitchen. That's the thing that we know needs the investment. They need the resources. So we're just going to do the rest ourselves.
Right. I mean, so on previous episodes of the pod, we had some pretty real conversations about how hard it was to make Lumen stack up financially, and what we spoke about the fact that you were working in another business to help make ends meet. Have you stopped doing that?
Actually, not. I still work for Small Batch because I love it. I really it lends itself to what I do at Lumen. Marita and I are both like deep coffee people, and from getting to work, like honestly, sometimes I work 5 hours, sometimes I work 15 hours. It sort of depends on what's required for me within the other business, but yeah, like I really, really enjoy my other work. So although maybe I'm just an agent of chaos as well, but yeah, I'm still doing both, and enjoying doing both. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So do you need to do both for the?
No. Long story short, no. So yeah, like we are actually, as of yesterday, trying to hire for like a front of house manager. So that will we do have a little bit of budget we have come to realize to get some help within Lumen. So yeah, it's going all right.
It's so good. Like, I just love it. Was such a courageous decision to close and one that you agonized over for months, I know. Um, but I think you did already frame it as a positive, like it was going to be Lumen Mark II. You'd learn a lot. You were going to try some new stuff. Um, how do you sort of reflect on the decisions that you made?
Um, Now that I'm at the other end of it, I'm like really, or not at the other end, I'm on the other side of those set of decisions. I'm really glad we did it. It felt terrifying at the time and it felt insane at the time. And there was, times that I'd be awake at 2 o'clock in the morning and be like, is this the right thing to do? The community kind of already spoke and sort of not rejected it, but it didn't grow in the way we hoped. But yeah, like Mareech and myself and the team that we were working with, like the more we sort of came on, the more we sort of developed our ideas, the more we felt like we had to do it. We felt compelled to do it. So yeah, we did it. And we figured out how to pull it together financially. Like, I guess like that's the other kind of crazy part is like kind of making something out of nothing. Yeah.
Was there a moment when you felt like it distilled for you that you were on the right track?
I think honestly, like the first like 3 days that we were open, I sent invitations to like a lot of our neighbors in Fitzroy and a lot of like our old regulars in North Melbourne and like invited them in. And honestly, the first weekend we were open, we'd like tripled, like with over that weekend revenue wise, we'd tripled anything we'd ever done in North Melbourne. And then just to see like the tap kind of was on and it kind of stayed on over and over and over all the way through to Christmas. And we were just like overwhelmed, honestly, trying to like hire and build out and make it all sort of not so much sustainable for Mareech and I, but sustainable for everyone else who was working with us so that it was fair on them. But yeah, I guess like Mareech and I, to answer that question even further, over the last few weeks, we've had some crazy weeks. We've done a lot of private, like sort of dinners, birthday parties, exhibition launches, and we've been working like doing extra services, extra things, and just coming to realize how many hands it really takes to bring it together, and that's kind of shown the capacity of the venue and what it can do, and also demonstrated to us that it's really busy and it's really busy all the time, and maybe like we were onto something.
I'm so happy to hear it.
Yeah, no, it's so far so good. It's awesome.
Emma, the reason that I wanted to shine a light on what Lumen is and does is because I feel like it's the kind of business that we want in our cities, independent, creative, ethical, values driven, community focused. And we hear so much from small business owners who are putting it all on the line, as you and Mareech are. We just hear how hard it is and how difficult it can be to make it stack up financially. And as humans, you put it all out there. It wasn't quite working. You made big decision to change it, and it's working. Like, I'm so happy to hear it. It's just such a good story. So now maybe you need to give us the recipe for the secret sauce. Like, what can other businesses or operators or dreamers take from what you're doing to get themselves on their own happy path?
Yeah, I guess like I will also say like it's not perfect. Like we're like in pretty like wild times in hospitality. Like there's surprise inflation everywhere within our supply chain. I don't know. They're like not within a few months. They're like not going to let us do card surcharging. Like all sorts of like things are popping up, and that not just worry me, but worry my community. I guess like the things that I see that are working for us and things that I see that are working for people I admire are just like being unrelenting in your vision and doing things from the heart and yeah, just like not compromising, like focusing on like pushing up rather than making yourself small. Like the temptation, not so much from us, but I see within even like the coffee community or the wine community are like not to buy the expensive wine or not to buy the milk for your coffee that has any ethics, to like sort of make things cheaper, make things smaller in an aim to be accessible, but you sort of like lose yourself and your mission within those decisions, I think. Like so yeah, I just think like keep sort of finding new ways to like be authentic and lean into your vision and move forward from there. I think that's sort of like what people see and what our guests like really relate to, whether they're conscious or unconscious of that, is like all the little tiny details that bring it together. And they're the businesses I admire as well. They're like true, independent, crazy cats that are out there also doing the same thing.
So it's interesting you mentioned, you know, whether your customers are conscious or not of those many decisions that you make. How important do you think it is to communicate the vision, or should it just be infused through the business, or does that depend on the customer?
For me, I think like my first priority is always like comfort and welcome and like meeting people where they're at. Some people are really interested in all of those like little tiny details and want to know that our chocolate is made by a Mills Castro, a woman on the, you know, Colombian Venezuelan border. Like some people want to know those details, and some people are just like excited that their cappuccino has grated chocolate on top. And, you know, for us, it is about the storytelling and the excitement, but it's also not about preaching and virtue signaling and shoving things down people's throat. Yeah, I think Mariach and I learned a lot from like the specialty coffee movement 10, 15 years ago, you know, in times when you wouldn't allow people to put sugar in their coffee and do all of those sorts of things. And it didn't really create comfort and welcome. It actually kind of did the opposite. So yeah, our like first priority is always good hospitality. Second priority is like let people in if they want to come in. But I mean, sorry, let people into the bigger story if they want. But otherwise, like if everyone engages with things on their own level. And we do a lot of education on our socials. So like there's like lots of opportunity to learn.
I think that ability to offer that comfort and welcome is, I'm sure, supported by you knowing that you're doing things in the way that you want to do them. That, you know, you can be unapologetic and generous within the framework that you've carefully created.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to shy away from the difficulty of doing business right now. It's you know, the biggest conversation in the country right now is fuel prices, the impacts of those, whether suppliers are hitting customer-facing businesses with surcharges. And then there's curveballs like whether or not you'll be able to charge or need to absorb credit card surcharges in come November, whenever the deadline is. There are lots of slings and arrows being thrown at everyone in the community at the moment. Do you think, like, how do you deal with that? Is it mindset? Is it strategy? Is it a mixture of both? How do you sort of stay level?
Yeah, I guess like for Mariach and I this time around, we've been talking about the fuel levy thing. Like most of our suppliers have added little surcharges and little increases here and there. We've sort of made a decision this time around to just like have a look at where everything's sitting in a fortnight. We unfortunately already sit on that sort of like higher end pricing structure wise, because we do work within like a really short supply chain, and things, like everything is sort of like organically grown, and everything is just like inherently more expensive than if you bought it from the market or from, unthoughtful or like sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Within sort of conventional supply chains. So we already sit in that higher bracket. So we're like maybe a little bit nervous to increase our pricing reactively without knowing all the information. So we're just going to kind of watch things closely, and see where we land in like a fortnight. And if we have to make increases, we will. But if we find that it's just like, I don't know, a couple of cents here and there, then maybe we'll just ride it out, knowing hopefully it's not forever. I think the government's made an announcement that I had dreamed to do a bit of reading before speaking to you, but that maybe they're going to put a bit of like a tax break on fuel, so maybe the levy won't be forever. If it's something we can absorb, maybe we'll try as long as we can.
I mean, even to hear you talk about just putting a little bit of a beat or a breath in that decision making, I feel that's like different to maybe how you would have been a few years ago. Just to have a medium term view of things and not be panicky and reactive. Does that feel different to you? Like you have sort of learnt and grown a bit?
The leadership that Breach and I had definitely both experienced like previously, and sort of like how we were molded was definitely more around like respond quickly, like be agile, respond quickly. And we definitely carried that into our first couple of years of business. It's no fault of, we've had great mentorship that have like led us to this point. There's no criticism on any of those folks. But I guess, for us, we're just going to like understand where we're at before we make any decisions and not be too aggressive with that one. I was also speaking yesterday with a really good friend of mine, Kate, who owns the Lucky Duck. It's a little cafe up in Brisbane, and we were talking about the fuel levies and the increases, and she had this concern that her guests are feeling increases everywhere around them, and that her venue is like a happy, safe place, and that if she does a price increase, then do they start to feel like they're losing that safe third space? I don't know. I think that's kind of consideration that I really appreciate as well. Like, we want our guests to feel safe and like we're somewhere that they don't have to think too hard sometimes. If we like immediately respond and put our prices up and put a sign on the window, maybe like we're also creating some stress. Maybe I'm being naive this time around. I hope it's not forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful response and a beautiful conversation. And so, just so giving and generous. As you mentioned at the start of the conversation, you've been putting in a lot of hours, and I guess it's always about finding that balance between sustainability, financial sustainability, and generosity, and creating that space for your customers. But it does feel to me that you're, feeling your way through this particular crisis in a different way.
Yeah, I think so. I think like crises are probably not going to go away. I think they're maybe just going to be a part of our lives. They have always been a part of our lives, but like these things are just going to keep popping up. And it's not that we're going to put our head in the sand. We're very aware of them. We've been seeing a lot of emails in our accounts inbox. So, there's a couple of dollars here and there. And I don't know. Maybe it's just about understanding what that actually looks like in a bigger scale before jumping in and making a decision. Yeah.
So Emma, if people listen to this and say, I've got to check this place out, and indeed I would encourage them to do so, what should they try when they come through the doors?
We are like so deep in fig season at the moment, like figs everywhere. Our head chef, Bethany, has a massive fig tree in her backyard. So we're actually just like using all the crazy amount of figs from her backyard at the moment. We have a hot cake that has beautiful sticky figs on top. We have a shrub that we've made. We've got a fig soda. We're pretty crazy about figs at the moment.
Wow, that is a very short supply chain, and I'm so there for it. That's brilliant. What are you loving coffee wise?
We are like so deep in Colombia season at the moment. We've been drinking a lot of coffees from Johan Vergara at the moment. He's a producer in Colombia. He's also a fermentation specialist. Before Christmas, we were drinking his Java. Now we're drinking his Pink Bourbon. There's sort of like this crazy in between of like sort of natural and a wash. There's some like controlled fermentation. They've got like that sort of fruit forward character of a natural process, but with the sort of like refinement of a washed coffee. I have been like obsessing over this producer so much that I saw that the Coffee Collective in Denmark also bought a lot of his. So we like purchased some coffee from Denmark. But it's been really fun to like enjoy or like have a sort of spotlight on one producer over like the last few months and to have our team really like enjoy and like learn about a producer. But then also within my small batch community, it's been really exciting to just like really, really enjoy a producer and get to roast. And like Andrew knows Johan. So like, it's been really fun having that sort of closeness and spotlight on one producer for the last few months. Yeah.
I just love those connections. Emma, maybe we can finish with a wine recommendation. What are you loving pouring wine-wise?
We've been really, really enjoying this direct press Syrah from Gemini. They're amazing, amazing grape grower, winemaker in the Adelaide Hills. Our dear friend Liz from Vavan sort of helps them in a very lo-fi way to like distribute and taste because she's out doing tastings a lot. So she works closely with them. We've been really enjoying those wines. Also been really enjoying pouring our dear friend Alice's wines. She splits her time between Melbourne and Chile making wine. She also comes from a strong coffee background. So like she's amazing to have in our community. We've been drinking her apple cider on the glass list for like the last 3 months since they arrived in Australia. Yeah, really yummy.
This is so great. I mean, anyone listening to this would get such a sense of what Lumen is like and the connections that you create and foster with your suppliers and then, share that joy with your guests. It's so lovely, Emma. So great to catch up. This is the official reinstatement of the series. So I look forward to future chats with you and other people in the Lumen People universe. Thank you so much for being back with me today.
Excited for more. Yeah. Thanks for your time.
This is Dirty Linen. I'm Dani Valent. We bring you untold stories from the food world. Real, raw, unafraid, hopeful. We're driven by a belief that food provides endless opportunities for learning, connecting, and creating the world we want to live in. Delicious, open-hearted, meaningful. If you know a story that needs telling, get in touch. Write to dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au. Thank you for listening.
This is a Deep in the Weeds production.